Good morning, children. A very good morning to all of you. This is Aprajita ma'am speaking, and we are returning back with a new chapter in your ELR book from Ace with Asta, Literature Reader. So, a very good morning to all of you. Here's again a note of inspiration from my side. Never give up. Great things take time. So please give time to yourself, and you all are going to come up with great things. So here's our chapter for today, Sweet Cries, written by Sarojini Naidu. It's a wonderful poem. We'll get to know about the poem and also about our poetess. So our poetess here, Sarojini Naidu. Sarojini Naidu Ni Chattopadhyay was born on 13th of February 1879. She was an Indian independence activist and a poetess who earned the sobriquet of Nightingale of India. She was born in a Bengali Hindu family in Hyderabad. She was educated in Chennai, London, and Cambridge later on. She married Dr. Govindara Zulu Naidu and settled down in Hyderabad. She took part in the Indian nationalist movement too. Now we come up to the poem Street Cries by Sarojini Naidu. The poem Street Cries is a poem written about the general routine people undertake throughout the day. In the first stanza, she describes how the sun rises in the morning and notes how people prepare and go to their work for the whole day. A wonderful write up, a wonderful work by our poetess Sarojini Naidu. It's a poem written at a time when life was far from the madding crowd's ignoble strife. People having very simple approach to life, waking at dawn to rush for work, having afternoons with no gadgets to cool them down, accept natural resources and have time to enjoy the evening with the family. That's the time we are talking about in our poem Street Cries. Street cries refer to the shouts rendered by hawkers on the streets to sell their merchandise. The hawkers start their cries at the break of dawn. They have many things, such as bread and fruit to satiate the hunger of fasting men and women. There are also flowers for women to adorn their hair. So here's Street Cries, stanza wise summary. We come up to the first stanza, Street Cries by Sarojini Naidu. When dawn's first cymbals beat upon the sky, rousing the world to labor's various cry, to tend the flock, to bind the mellowing grain, from ardent toil to forge a little gain. And fasting men go forth on hurrying feet. Buy bread, rings down the eager street. So, what's there in the first stanza? When the first sound of early morning, such as twittering of the birds, bells from the temples, and brays of the cattle fill the sky, the world, which means people inhabiting the earth, are awakened. Everyone wakes up to the various calls of the vendors on the streets to go out of their work for their work. Shepherds are taking their cattle to the grassland. Farmers are going to their fields to harvest the ripened wheat, corn, or rice to earn some profit. Some men are actually on fast and did not have anything since the last night's supper. But they are going hurriedly with their load of bread, calling out, "Buy bread, buy bread." So, this is all we find in the first stanza of the poem. Now we come up to the second stanza, Street Cries by Sarojini. When the earth falters and the waters swoon, with the implacable radiance of noon, and in dim shelters coils rush their notes, and the faint thirsting blood in languid throats craves liquid succor from the cruel heat. Buy fruit, steals down the panting street. So once more for you. When the earth falters and the waters swoon, with the implacable radiance of noon, and in dim shelters coils hush their notes, and the faint thirsting blood in liquid throats craves liquid succor from the cruel heat. Buy fruit, steals down the panting street. So, an explanation of the second stanza now. In summers, when earth is dry and the soil loses its strength, the rivers have no water, and when there is an unchangeable glare of the afternoon, the tired coal birds take shelter in sheds and sing very low. These hawkers do not stop their cries. Buy fruit. They do not stop even when their throats run dry, shouting out for prospective customers, and they crave for some liquid to get solace from the scorching heat. So here's what we find in the second stanza. Now the third stanza for you all. Street Cries by Sarojini. When twilight twinkle over the gay bazaars, unfurls a sudden canopy of stars. When lutes are strung and fragrant torches lit, on white roof terraces where lovers sit, drinking together of life's poignant sweet. By flowers, by flowers, floats down the singing street. Once more for you. When twilight twinkling over the gay bazaars unfurls a sudden canopy of stars. when lutes are strung and fragrant torches lit on white roof terraces where lovers sit, drinking together of life's poignant sweet. By flowers, floats down the singing street. So, what do we get in this third stanza of the poem? During evening hours, when the moonlight shines over the cheerful and enthusiastic marketplace, the sky is covered with stars, and it happens quite sudden when a stringed musical instrument is being played and all the sticks are lighted. When couples sit on the terraces of the buildings, which are calm and tranquil, enjoying a drink, which means enjoying the life's affection, fondness, and sweetness. At that time, the florist comes on the street to sell flowers. So that's all we find in the three stanzas of the poem Street Cries. Here we find Sarojini Naidu depicted a clear picture of three different hours of the day and conveyed the importance of the service rendered by the street hawkers according to human needs and moods. She depicted the humble folks quite well, who are engaged in their daily task, and portrayed the dignity of labor through which the people of India earn their livelihood. The vendors are suitable representatives of the greatness of the land of which they arise and are not merely decorative characters here. They are endowed with life and vitality throughout the poem. What do we find so? Cries refer to the shouts rendered by hawkers on the streets to sell their merchandise. The hawkers start their cries at the break of dawn. They have many things, such as bread and fruit, to satiate the hunger of fasting men and women. There are also flowers for women to adorn their hair. The hawkers do not stop their cries even when their throats run dry, shouting out for prospective customers, and they crave for some liquid to get solace from the scorching heat. Even the cuckoo's sweet music is drowned by the street cries. At the same time, when twilight dawns, lovers enjoy each other's company, sitting on rooftops, oblivious to the sad plight of the hawkers, struggling to sell their wares. This wonderful poem is written by Sarojini Naidu. I hope you all have known by now. Who is often remembered for her poems and for her prominent role in India's freedom struggle. Called as the Nightingale of India by Gandhiji, she wrote poems full of patriotic fervor that dwell on our rich natural cultural heritage. She used to sympathize deeply with the toiling masses of the country, and her poems are of great lyrical beauty and sweetness. So that's all, children. Thank you.